Let's do it. Sometimes things don't go the way you anticipated them to go. They even sometimes go badly. And within this, we assume that there is no through road for positivity to be found within our world. We feel as though when something goes wrong, we have an opportunity now, or an obligation even, to feel bad for ourselves and to drown in our sorrows. I'm going to encapsulate this point by relating exactly my feelings today. I was due to be having a conversation with a guy called Scott Walker. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of Scott, he is a kidnap for ransom hostage negotiator who has spent nearly 2 decades working in the police force, among having some time spent interrogating in Iraq. So, with the intrigue and the interest of this guy potentially coming onto the show, I was obviously very excited and a bit anxious for today's video to come out. Now, as a result of technology proving to be, how shall I put this, fucking useless, I have not been able to have that conversation because the connection simply wouldn't stay. As a result, you can imagine I'm pretty disappointed and have a feeling of feeling sorry for myself. Added to which, this is the second time that this has happened with Scott. About 3 weeks ago, we were due to be having this conversation and Wi-Fi decided on that day that just don't really feel like working. So, added that with that as the compounding effect, today has really been a day that has made me feel that is the feeling. And with that, I realised something. My knee-jerk reaction was when the recording wouldn't go and Scott said, look, we're just going to have to reschedule for another day, I can't do it now. My knee-jerk reaction was to fall in on myself and feel sorry about the fact that yet again this has not gone the way I wanted it to go. And as this thought came into my head, I realised something critical. I still have a job to do. I still have told myself that I need to get my podcasts out on a certain day and that there is a obligation that I have given myself to fulfill. And that obligation comes in the form of the passion of the podcast. This is what I want to do. The problem that would have come if I decided to run with my knee-jerk reaction, what I initially felt like doing, is that I would not have fulfilled my promise to myself. I know a lot of people won't be watching this video because that's just the way, that's the part of the podcasting journey that I'm in. But it's up to me to fulfill and to be honest to myself that this is something I want to do. And as a result, no matter what happens, I need to do this. This is what I need to do. And what I have realised today as a result of getting onto the mic, even without a great deal of planning, because I didn't expect to be here today, I have realised that the lesson embedded in the video that you are watching right now is that when things go wrong, you have an opportunity to show yourself something important. You can show yourself that if something goes wrong, your podcast doesn't work, for instance, you can prove that even when that happens, you can do something else. You can find the next best thing to do. You can prove to yourself that you are a force that works towards whatever goal it is that they're working towards, irrespective of what happens. And that's a very important lesson to cultivate, important feeling to be aware of within yourself. If you are someone who knows that no matter what happens, you're going to show up and you're going to do it, that's a really beautiful trait to know. And I think an important point to sort of attach to that is it doesn't have to be perfect. You can do things that are shoddy or that are unmethodical or absent of planning, and it still be a massive win. Take today's video as a sort of the example that I placed before you. This video was not supposed to be made. I wasn't expecting to be talking just baldy to beauty today. But that's the case, and that's what's happened. I think it's very important for us to know that even when things go wrong, even when the chips are down, and when it's so easy for us to feel as though the only route forward is, well, I guess that's ruined. It's not the case. A lot of the time we can find something within ourselves where we can look and we can go, right, that didn't work, but what's the next best thing I can do? What can I do today that can make things a bit better? And a point that I'd love to attach to this is, if one thing goes wrong in your day, that doesn't mean that you've had a bad day. we're very quick to assume that if you have a bad start to the day, or something goes wrong in the middle of the day, if one thing goes wrong in our day, we're very quick to assume that we have had a bad day. If I was to take the perspective as someone who is totally invested in the podcast of the podcast I wanted to do has not come out yet again, I've had a bad day, I would be totally denigrating everything else that's happened in my day. I wouldn't be paying attention to the fact that I got a guest who I really wanted to come on. I got him booked in this morning. I wouldn't be paying attention to the fact that I've had a day off of work, so I've been free to listen to Sam Harris as much as I want to. I would be totally, or even smaller things, or perceived smaller things, like the fact that today is a nice sunny day that I could sit outside with my dogs and just chill out. If we quickly write days off as a result of one bad thing happening, we're going to very quickly just abolish any feelings of positivity towards ourselves, because we're going to forget that there is good in every day. We're very quick when things go wrong to resort to catastrophe and further self-destruction. It's very easy if one thing goes wrong for you to go, oh, fuck it, well, I didn't even need to do my diet today anyway, so let's just order a takeout, and spiral in that direction, or go, oh, what should I do now? I guess I'll just scroll on my phone. It's very easy for us to do that, and I'm here to tell you that you don't need to do that. When things go wrong, there is an inherent opportunity for you to find something. I'm going to call in another example that I think would be quite interesting of a breakup that I had in last February. Now, of course, the breakup itself was pretty difficult and wasn't the most fun of times, but it did provide me with an understanding of the fact that I had a newly renewed opportunity to start working on some things that needed working on, be it my ego that was far too present at the time, or just generally my output that could have done with some polishing up. It provided me with an opportunity to do that. And I think the lesson embedded within there is when things go wrong, there is quite often a route to redemption that we can take so long as we are willing to walk the steps. I think it's very important for us to know that when things go wrong, it doesn't mean that there is nothing that can go right. And that's important. Another thing that I would like to talk about today, whilst we're on the topic, is just because you're scared of doing something doesn't mean it's the wrong thing. A lot of the time we assume that if something is fearful, or if we are a feeling of discontent or concern is conjured within us as a result of thinking about an event happening, that's something to avoid. Now, we have been force-fed the idea for a long time now that just because something's hard doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And I think we've all got a pretty good concept of that. But fear is a totally different thing. Our knee-jerk response as a result of our evolutionary hardwiring is that fear must be avoided. If something is scary, then fuck it off. Don't to put it somewhere like someone like Jordan Peterson would put it, to fuck it off. My point is, we are very quick to assume that if something is fearful, or if we're scared of something, that it is needing to be avoided, and that is deeply embedded in our understanding that a tiger is fearful, so let's not go near the tiger. But the conversation that you're scared of having that will actually be tremendously useful for your relationship is not a tiger. It's important for us to know that when we're scared of something, we need to look at whether we're scared of that thing and it's a worthy cause to be scared of, like a tiger, or we're scared of something because we know that we're pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. That's a good lesson. I would also like to say something I have noticed within myself as a result of really pushing myself out of the comfort zone because of the podcast is it's important for you to schedule time into your week and into your day where you're not optimizing. You're not trying to complete anything. In fact, if you are trying to complete anything, what you're trying to do is complete feeling relaxed and content. It's a lesson that I have taken a long time to learn is that you don't need to optimize everything. You can, in fact, provide yourself with some time to simply enjoy the sun, or to have a conversation with your friends over a cup of coffee without being worried about whether you've sent enough emails today. We need to be aware of the fact that it's not all about optimizing. And I think something I've noticed more and more saliently as a result of being in the midst of the podcasting world is that this is a trap that we fall into in everyday life. We fall into this idea that we need to be optimizing and that we need to be constantly working towards things. And I have realised that when you're someone who works towards things, it's important that you work towards relaxation as well. Now, I'm not going to say a great deal more in this video, so if you want to click off now, then do so. But I'm going to carry on talking just for a minute to make a sort of a point on my own behalf. I would like to make it known that for as long as this podcast persists, that I should be as honest and as true to myself as I would ever be. I don't want to be someone who conjures up stories or creates sort of just loose threads because they need to make a point. I'd like it to be known that as best as I can possibly do, you will see the most authentic version of me when you hear from me. And the reason why I want to do that is because I think the lesson, the absolute importance within the podcast, within this, is that you feel the way that someone like Chris Williamson has made me feel. Someone who is understanding of the fact that things don't always go well, or that there are fears and anxieties that are complex and as someone who's working towards goals maybe are foreign to a lot of people. I don't want anyone to feel alienated by my content. In fact, I should do everything I can to make anyone who watches this feel welcome and a part of something. And that's why in today's video I've made an honest point of the fact that this is not a scripted video, this is not as professional as I'd like it to be, but it stands to provide a lesson. And that lesson is the fact that even when things go wrong, you can still try.